Let's take a look at sentiment from the sentiment analysis tool and see where we are, okay, currently with sentiment. Last week was FOMC, so news always changes things in the markets. But let's see how last week kind of played out. Okay, we had Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar as strong buys. Dollar yen went to a strong sell. And to end the week, we see that we're actually seeing a signal shift, potentially for Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, and pound dollar, okay, even euro dollar. So if we look down at the bottom right quadrant, if we cross the y-axis, okay, right here, then this whole area is a sell signal. This is just a weak sell signal, and as it moves up, it becomes a stronger sell signal. Okay, so usually when we see a shift, it means that something's changing in the market. Okay, retailers shifting positions. Okay, they're going from this is already inverted, right? So if they were selling, then it would have been a strong buy, and if they start buying, it'll become more and more a strong sell. So retail are actually starting to buy the euro dollar, New Zealand dollar, Australian dollar, pound dollar. Okay, so these are pairs we want to keep an eye on because there's a shift now. Okay, so these are potential sells for the upcoming week. Okay, let's take a look at the heat map. This is actual retail positioning. As you can see here, it's not inverted. I just want to show something really interesting here. For the Australian dollar, okay, retail are shorting, but I want you to see how that's changed since the beginning of the week. Okay, the beginning of last week, retail was heavily short the Australian dollar, as you can see by the dark red. And as time goes on, we can see that the red is a lot less red, which means that there is a shift in positioning happening. Okay, and that's very similar to what we saw with the bubbles. Okay, that retailers shifting positions. Okay, so chances are there may be a change, and we'll have to look at market structure to confirm that a change is happening. Okay, so we can get on board with potential Australian dollar short, for instance. Okay, but you can see that for Australian dollar, US dollar, retail was heavily short at the beginning of last week, but as time went on, they're not as heavily short anymore. Okay, so let's take a look at market structure, and we'll see if there's any opportunities going forward. Okay, looking at the US dollar, we have a clear shift to the upside structurally. Okay, we were making lower lows. Now we have a clear new structure high here. Okay, I mean, I would have argued this was a new structure high, and we did a retest and a continuation. Okay, so going forward, we're going to look for a buy opportunity anywhere in this area for the dollar to continue upward. Okay, so it looks like structurally the dollar has shifted and that the bias is currently to the upside for us. Looking at the euro dollar, we had saw that retail was shifting in sentiment, and interesting enough, we have a clear new structure low with our market structure. Okay, so we've broken down to the downside. Okay, so anywhere in this area, we're going to look for short opportunities. Okay, price should not come all the way back to here. Realistically, you'll probably get a bounce somewhere in this area. Okay, price is likely to come up here, test, and continue downward. Okay, you got lots of liquidity over here. You have stops here, stops here. Okay, stops here, 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 here. lots of liquidity below. Okay, so definitely interested in shorting the euro dollar going into this week. And again, that kind of confirms what we had saw on sentiment, because there's a shift in retail sentiment. And so this is likely the beginning of that move to the downside. Same thing, pound dollar. We actually took out stops here. We had a strong move down. Okay, so again, you're going to look for shorts anywhere above this area. Okay, there's your short opportunities. And again, with sentiment, we saw that the pound dollar was also shifting to be a sell signal. Dollar yen, we had a strong move up, market structure break, a retest, continuation upward to take out stops, retest of our structure here, starting to move upward. Okay, so you might get some bouncing around, but it looks like that this also wants to go ahead and move upward. Okay, so we had an up move. We might get a little bit of bouncing around and then a continuation upward. Okay, we have a huge LG fill that needs to be filled at some point in the future in this area. Okay, up to this wick right here. You could even say it's in this zone right here if you count this wick as starting to fill that in. Okay, but this area needs to be filled in. Okay, so will price do it this week? We will see. But that is a target area. Okay, so if you want to get in a position and hold a swing, you could aim for the fill of that liquidity gap. New Zealand dollar, we also have some stops taken here, retest the structure. Okay, price started moving down. I'm looking at this to continue downward, and we have potentially, we can go pretty low with this one. Okay, I don't know how far down it's going to go, but we may take out stops up to this area or even down to here, possibly here, and it could even go forward, down further. I wouldn't go much past this area. There's a lot of, bouncing happening here. But I mean, there's still plenty of room to the downside for this trade. Okay, so I would be looking at New Zealand dollar short, and again, that confirms with what we were seeing with sentiment. Dollar CAD, we have a clear structural break to the upside. We didn't quite get the liquidity gap fill here, so that's probably coming up next. You can see that right here to this wick. Okay, got pretty close, didn't actually fill. Sometimes it won't fill, but considering that our market structure is to the upside, I would be interested in this at least filling that gap at minimum. Okay, but more likely to continue upward, higher to take out stops here and possibly into the structure here to the left. Okay, so this is a good target area. Okay, so once we clear those stops, we'll be going into structure here. Great target area. At minimum, you could take some off here and let the rest ride to target. And the Australian dollar, same thing we're seeing with the dollar across the board. We have a strong move to the downside, a retest of structure, a move back down. Okay, and so this has plenty of opportunity to move downward at least to here, if not further. Okay, to fill in this liquidity gap. Okay, there's a liquidity gap area here. We can see a strong impulse move up. Structures to the downside, and retail are starting to go long, which is a sign that their liquidity is going to be taken. Okay, so I would look for moves to the downside with the Australian dollar. And dollar franc, we also have price was moving down. We had a move to the upside, a retest of structure, and then a strong move up, and then a retest of the structure here. Okay, so likely continuation to the upside, potentially to take out stops right up in this area where all the liquidity is. Okay, lots of liquidity sitting right there. Stops, 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 right? Lots of liquidity above these areas. And we have a liquidity gap fill that needs to happen here. And we just about filled the one here. Okay, so here's your target areas. This one I would take most off on because this could be a turning point and it could rotate back down. But there's a possibility that we can go all the way up and grab the stops here. So that's it for our end of week analysis. I hope this helps. Happy trading to you. Also want to point out that we're thoroughly exploring the Monday range, okay, that I added in the market structure deep dive course. And one of the members of our community, Lord G. Bings, has taken on exploring the Monday range as a strategy. And we have a channel set up in Slack specifically for that exploration. And over the next few weeks, I will be recapping what happened during the week and show where the opportunities were to trade it. So that is a possible way to have a methodology built just around that one simple concept. And, you know, you can tie in other principles like sentiment and, you know, market structure, order flow to really give yourself some high probability trades. All right, that's it. Good luck, and we'll see you next time.